Now let's look at another section. Section 35 AC. This is project based. You rightly said that. 80G is given to your institution. But 35 AC is usually, now there are also certain organizations whose activities are in the nature of a project, ongoing projects. So in rare cases, I'm not saying in every cases, an institution also has 35 AC, but it happens in very rare cases. Largely you might be a multifarious organization doing a lot of work. You need to develop a certain project. Let us say the thrust of this section 35 AC came into force from 1st April 1992. And the thrust of this section was to give incentive to donors so that NGOs and others can take up projects which are largely meant for urban slum dwellers and rural welfare. The main thrust of this section is there. Now what you have to do is, typically let us say you are an urban NGO. You want to do something in the urban areas. Let us say you want to work in certain very disadvantaged communities. Let's say you want to work in slum areas. So you want to do something over there and you have to devise a project around it. What is the understanding of a project? First of all, it must be time bound. It's a 1-year project, 2-year project, 3-year project. What are you going to do there? Clean drinking water, a community health center, a women's networking facility or hygiene facilities, all sorts of things you might want to have over there, a clinic there or whatever else. And you put a budget and a time frame to it. And if that gets approved, donors giving to this project, which has a 35 AC certificate, the donor gets a 100% deduction. So under 80G, which is given to your institution, the donor gets a 50% deduction. Here it's a 100% write-off. Somebody gives you 10,000 rupees and it's a 100%, that means 10,000 rupees deducted from that donor's income for computation of taxation. So, and here the 10% ceiling limit is also not there. It must be up to 10% of the donor's income, etc. That is not here. Now what are the projects qualifying? The Income Tax Department has given us some insights. Construction and maintenance of drinking water projects in rural areas or in urban slums. See the references all the time, urban slums and rural areas. Construction of dwelling units for the economically weaker sections of society. Construction of school buildings primarily for children belonging to economically weaker sections of society. Establishment and running of non-conventional renewable sources of energy systems, pollution control projects, promotion of sports, and any other program for the uplift of the rural poor or urban slum dwellers as the National Committee may consider fit for support. There is a certain pro forma in which you can make this application, and this is processed by the Secretary, National Committee for the Promotion of Social and Economic Welfare, Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, Government of India, North Block, New Delhi 1. So there is a certain pro forma in which you apply, you make that project proposal, and if this gets passed, donors get a 100% deduction, which means more and more donors will get attracted towards supporting you. There are yet 2 other deductions which are unprecedented anywhere in the world, where if you are a research association under 35(1)(2), the donor gets a 175% deduction. Not 100, 100, and so he gives a lakh of rupees to you, he writes off 1,75,000. Classic examples are in Bombay, the Foundation for Medical Research, BIF, which is a well-known organization based out of Pune. These are some of the cases where there is a research association. Now again the process here is very complex, because if you are in scientific research, you need to get accreditation from Ministry of Science, or if you might be working on cancer research, you'll need various ministries have to give you accreditation for this, and it's a very complex process. But if you have this, you don't chase donors, the donors will chase you. And of course, if you are social science or statistical research, it's a 125% deduction. So these are what are called in law weighted deductions. So you can see there's a whole range from the standard 50% that most of us get to 100%, which is also fairly easy to get, and the more complex ones under 35(1)(2) and 35(1)(3), where there are weighted deductions.